we're so excited that you've decided to be a guest specialist here at Family Life Church. And I believe that if you can do this job well, that God's going to use you to make a deep impact on people's lives. And here's something that's really cool. The front door greeters are the first people from the church that the person's probably going to meet when they come in. But the guest specialist is the person that gets to help them and be their guide and really get to help them feel comfortable as they come into Family Life Church. And something that's very important to understand about your role as a guest specialist is that your role is specifically designed for first-time guests and to help people find their next step. So you have a pivotal role in the mission here at Family Life Church. So let's see how you can do this job to its fullest potential. In order to be a great guest specialist for this first-time guest, there's a 4-step process that you can use to help make a first-time guest experience very, very welcoming. The first thing that you need to understand in the process is you need to identify the people who could be first-time guests. And it's pretty easy to spot them because when they come in, they're usually a little fidgety, they look a little nervous, they're looking around, they're exploring this new environment. And so when you see somebody that you don't recognize or someone that has some of the signs that they're new, you want to identify them, which brings us to the second step in the process. And we want you to do after you identify somebody is you need to make that first warm approach, right? You need to have that first contact. And that first contact you have with them is something very important to understand. First, you want to introduce yourself. If you don't know who they are, you introduce yourself and you ask for their name. And then after you ask for their name, you never, ever, ever want to ask if it's their first time at church. Because 9 out of 10 times, it won't be. And it's going to be super awkward when they tell you, oh no, I've been coming here for a few months. But you just didn't recognize them, right? But instead, what you can ask is, how long have you been with us here at Family Life Church? At that point, they can say, oh, this is my first time. But if they're not a first-time guest, you avoid that whole awkward situation just by asking that. The third thing you're going to do in this process is you're going to give that first-time guest a quick tour of the facility. When someone comes in for the first time, they're already nervous. So by you just kind of walking them around, showing them where things are, it's going to help them to relax and understand all of the things we do here at Family Life Church. So there's a couple things that you can do when you give them that quick tour is, first of all, you want to tell them about the cafe area. Let them know that everything in the cafe area is free and that they can take it anywhere in the building that they go because we have these floors that don't stain. The second thing you want to show them is the child check-in area, especially if they have kids. Even if they don't have kids, I like to point out that we have an entire side of our building that's dedicated just for kids. A lot of people find that very interesting and they love to know who we are as a church, and that gives them an idea of what we do. But if they do have kids, walk with them over to the kid check-in area and introduce them to the child check-in person so that they can get their children checked in. The other two things that you want to point out to them, and do this before you let them go, is point out where the auditorium is, where we have service, and then also point out where the bathrooms are. Yes, where the bathrooms are. I didn't make a mistake. People want to know where the bathrooms are just in case. And the fourth step of the process is to simply ask if there's anything that they need before you let them go. Now this is very important because someone may have a question about our church, and this is also important. If you do not know the answer to the question, either send them to a pastor, walk with them of course, or if service has already started, you can just ask them to wait till after service and find you. At that point, you can introduce them to a pastor who can answer their question for them. So as a reminder, the 4 steps in the process is to 1, identify first-time guest. 2, you want to make that first warm contact. Step 3 is that you're going to give them a tour of the building. And then step 4 is you're going to ask them if they have any questions before you let them go. Before service, your focus is on first-time guests. So you're going to be just inside the front doors when people come in so you can identify those first-time guests. But after service, your goal is to help people find their next step. So every week we have the tablet out in the lobby to help people sign up for their next step, whether it could be Connect Point, getting baptized, or joining a life group. So as a guest specialist, we want you to have that tablet ready to go before service gets out, so when people get ready to leave, they'll be able to get there, sign up for that event so that they can get started on their next step. Before you start serving, if you've never done this before, what we'll do is we'll show you where the key is so you can get into the tablet, and we'll let you know about the code so you can log into the tablet. And once you get into the tablet, all you're going to do is going to go to the Safari app on the home page, and in the Safari app you're going to go to www.ocalaflc.com, which is the home page for the church, and on there you're just going to get to the home page and you'll find the link to sign up for events or for your next step, aka Connect Point, life groups, or getting baptized. If you have any questions about anything you're going to do as a guest specialist, you can always ask your team leader. We're here to help you. We believe that God's going to use you to make a big difference in people's lives.